Thus, I was able to see the changing world in a series of glimpses.
Most of you are probably already familiar with John Carpenter's The Thing. What you may not know is there was an earlier version. Both films derived from a novella called Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr., written under the pen name of Donnie Stewart. The 1982 version, however, is much closer to that original source material. The 51 version doesn't take much from it other than the premise of a malevolent alien crashing to Earth. There's also a bit of a controversy as to who directed this original film. It's officially credited to Christian Nyby. At Hollywood Scuttlebutt says it was actually legendary director Howard Hawks calling shots behind the scenes. Hawks should be a name that you're familiar with. He directed a number of well-known movies in the day. Sergeant York, Big Sleep, Rio Bravo. These were big-budget films. He was, in many ways, the Steven Spielberg of his day. The monster in this one, The Thing, is played by Western legend James Arness. Yes, that James Arness. You know, Marshall Dillon from Gunsmoke. Story goes that Arness actually accepted this role in return for a promise of a leading man role in a yet-to-be-announced film. The film stars Kenneth Tobey as square-jawed hero Captain Patrick Hendry, and Margaret Sheridan as his slightly kinky love interest. Oh, you're not familiar with that side of the story? Oh, keep watching. Trust me. The story begins with Douglas Spencer playing an early Kolchak role model, Ned Scotty Scott, approaching an Air Force base. This is the most desperate reporter on the planet. Scott's literally willing to go to Alaska to find a story, any story. Besides our hero, we meet his crew, Lieutenant Eddie Dykes, played by James Young, and Robert Nichols as Lieutenant Erickson. Captain Squarejaw is immediately called away from this meeting to another meeting with General Fogarty, played by David McMahon. It seems that some scientist types are having a geek convention in the North Pole, and somebody's crashed the party.
Just tell me what you find up there.
Arriving at the base, we meet a surprisingly large number of expendable extras. Much of the cast is uncredited. We have to trust to IMDb, so here's a cast information dump. First we have John Dierkes, who plays Dr. Chapman, the rational scientist. He backs the military every time over this fellow scientist. The other woman in the cast is Mrs. Chapman, played by Sally Creighton. I think she has 3 scenes in total. We also have Dr. Stern, played by Edward Franz. Crew Chief Bob is played by Dewey Martin, and William Self as Corporal Barnes, was Brian as radio operator Tex Richards, and Lee Fung Tu as Lee, the stereotype typical cook, Bill Neff as Bill Stone, Walter Nigg as the second cook, King Kong Cashley as Eskimo, Charles Oppenheimer as Eskimo, and Riley Sunrise also as Eskimo. Moving on. Last but not least is Paul Friesen, a rare film appearance. His face may not be familiar, but his voice is unmistakable. He did a myriad of voiceover work in movies, TV in the 50s and 60s. He plays Dr. Voorhees. Just make up your own joke.
Well.
Next we're introduced to Nikki, who has a very unusual relationship with our hero.
Downright dirty trick you played on me.
Now, Pat, don't lose your temper.
Why did you do it? Just tell me why.
Well, your legs aren't very pretty, and
You
I
didn't
didn't...
have to write it on a note and put it on my chest. Did you really drink all those drinks?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't throw any away or anything? Not a one?
No.
Holy cat.
Here we meet Dr. Carrington, played by Robert Cornthwaite. He'll be our arrogant jerk for the evening. He believes in the supremacy of science. They show the captain footage of the crash before heading out to check the site in person. The object that crashed is sphere-shaped. It's the 50s. What the hell did they expect? Unfortunately, the UFO is too deep in the ice to dig out with tools.
We're going to try to melt it out with thermite bombs.
Oh, excellent.
Which seems like a reasonable idea at the time. Meanwhile, Ned Scott's not happy he can't file a story. The captain tells him no dice, and Scotty goes off and pouts.
Why, you've got your authority in the Constitution of the United States.
This is back when the press still thought the First Amendment applied to everybody.
How fast does it work?
It'll uncover the whole saucer in 30 seconds. Get down flat, everybody!
Whoops. It's not all bad news, though, as they find a consolation prize buried in the ice. They get the block down to a manageable size, haul it back to camp, where we are treated to another conversation/argument breaking out about how to thaw their new toy. Captain Hendry is a party pooper, however. He denies permission to anybody to examine the body. They adjourn to the corridor to rehash the argument. The captain remains firm and says, "No touchy." Having made no progress, they decide to call HQ for further instructions.
There you are, Scotty.
Oh, fine. Now somebody else will get
Knock
the
it off,
story.
Scotty.
Apparently everybody's tired of Scotty's bitching. They decided to be nice to the man on guard and give him an electric blanket to try and keep him warm. I do need to issue a trigger warning for this next scene. I realize that some of you may be deeply disturbed by the content that you're about to witness, and I want to apologize, but for the sake of film history and preservation, I am going to show it to you uncut, the way it was originally distributed.
Man, what does that boogeyman on a cake of ice really mean?
I don't know, Nicky.
And for those of you who didn't believe me about their relationship,
You can tie my hands if you want them.
yeah, I don't think they have a healthy relationship at all.
Do you want another one, Pat?
Don't you think you could untie me now?
Meanwhile, back with the monster, our intrepid airman gets freaked out by the thing in the ice, but don't worry, he has the perfect solution. Yeah, that's the same electric blanket. And yeah, it's still plugged in. See? You can probably figure out what happens next. Whoa! Easy there, killer! Will somebody please take the gun away from this guy? Captain disarms the man while one of the scientists attempts to calm him down.
I'm wet! I'm hysterical and I'm wet!
For those of you familiar with the 1982 John Carpenter remake of this film, I gotta tell you, the dogs in this one fare a lot better. Most of them survive, and they even manage to get a piece of the monster. See? We endure more scientific head scratching while a specialist poke and prod the arm.
Where did you find the arm? It was partly under one of them, wasn't it?
Couldn't dogs tear off an arm?
The severed arm over there would tend to suggest yes. We treated more balloon juice from the gathered intelligentsia. Scotty believes the creature is dead already, having lost his arm and being outside in the freezing cold. Henry notes being frozen in a block of ice didn't manage to slow him down much.
Porous, unconnected cellular growth.
It sounds like, well, just as though you're describing some form of super carrot.
What? He said it.
Look here, I took this from under the soft tissue in the palm of the hand.
Seed pod.
And about the seed pod being found in the thing's hand? Yeah, I'm not going there.
Yes, the neat and unconfused reproductive technique of vegetation.
We get it. You're a vegan.
No pain or pleasures, we know. No emotions,
And you have a disturbing plant fetish.
no heart. Our superior. Our superior in every way.
Professor's soliloquy about the virtues of plants is interrupted as the hand comes back to life. Finding out it lives on blood is all it takes to get the military in gear, however. We see them find a room full of uranium to establish the Geiger counter would be useful in the third act to track the radioactive monster. I want you to think about a group of Marines isolated on LV-426. Yep, this is where he got it from. Carrington and some of the scientists find something suspicious. Remember what I said about most of the dogs surviving? Yeah, about that. Carrington thinks it's a good idea not to tell the men with guns and training, who are ostensibly there to protect them, that the monster has left his lunch in the greenhouse. After a fruitless search for the thing, they receive a radio message from the general, who is frustrated that they're not answering him.
Fogarty to Henry, why haven't you answered? Want immediate answer. Same to same, radio silence unnecessary. Fogarty to Henry, waiting report, silence confusing. Same to same, acknowledge. Same to same, acknowledge at once.
You get the feeling they've heard this before? Dr. Stern stumbles in.
Message for you, son.
Henry's told the monsters in the greenhouse with two of the now former scientists. Armed with axes, they go to make coleslaw. Scotty tags along intending to get a picture. Breaking into the greenhouse, they give us our first good look at the thing. Did Scotty get his picture?
No, you were in the way. And the door wasn't open long enough.
Want me to open it again?
No.
Well, just the douche I wanted to talk to.
I was in there
Dr.
myself.
Stern was
5
right. I
hours.
looked through that door. They're hanging in there upside down like in a slaughterhouse. I wish you'd seen it.
Remember that scene from The Wrath of Khan? I want you to get that pictured in your head, because you ain't seeing it here. After a heated discussion, Hendry sends Carrington to his room.
You sent for us, Doctor. You said you had news for us, Doctor.
Hey, Davros! Wake up! Carrington finally starts to understand that this is a battle, and it's not going well. He has Nikki read his notes, and we find out he's using blood plasma to grow a bunch of baby monsters. Carrington shows them his extra credit project. Surprise, surprise, they think he's nuts too. What's the matter with you? Nikki gets creeped out and wants to leave.
I think you should get some sleep.
There's too much to do, Professor Wilson.
But your mind can't work if you're exhausted.
My mind's still perfectly clear.
Obviously. Wilson reminds Carrington the thing is building his own army in the greenhouse.
You've seen what one creature like that can do. Imagine 1,000.
I have imagined it.
Carrington's turned on. Despite his own team trying to reason with him, Carrington refuses to listen because of science. The captain questions Nikki about why all the blood plasma is gone, even though she was sworn to secrecy by Carrington when he gave her his notes to type up. She immediately disregards that and shows them to him. Captain Hendry barges into the little nursery of horrors and lets Carrington know there's a new sheriff in town. He reminds the good doctor what his colleagues in the greenhouse are doing.
What happened in the greenhouse was not my fault.
We've read your notes, Arthur.
Yeah?
I think you should have consulted the rest of us.
I have all the help I need. Your opinion has not been asked.
Even the other scientists are starting to disagree with Carrington. They intend to burn his little lab experiment. However, Carrington managed to tattle to the general, who orders them not to hurt their prisoner. The doctor insists they follow these very sane orders. Everyone else, not so much. They're still arguing when they're told the storm is so bad they're forced to bring the guards in from outside the greenhouse. Okay. Maybe these guys have been up there a little too long, but you may notice a disturbingly sexual tone in the next few scenes. Judge for yourself.
Anybody around here want some coffee?
No, but you can come in.
Who wants some?
She's talking about coffee, right?
What happens if our boyfriend gets lonely and starts strolling around?
Yeah, not touching that either.
$64 question. What do you do with a vegetable?
You did not just ask that. Moving on. As I try to figure out the right recipe for a monster souffle, the Geiger counter goes off. They decided since nothing else has worked, it's time for desperate measures. They'll douse the thing with kerosene and set it on fire. Oh yeah, this is going to end well. Like in any kind of sophisticated delivery system, they proceed to dump the kerosene into buckets, while practicing some questionable fire safety.
Watch that cigarette, Lieutenant.
Hendry puts Nikki where she'll be best protected, under a nice, flammable mattress. This iconic scene features stuntman Tom Steele in the monster makeup. He also is the one who fought the dogs earlier in the film. What you are about to see is reportedly one of, if not the first, full-body burns in cinematic history. Jesus! Have a little fire, Scarecrow! So Captain Douchebag managed to douse his entire crew with flammable liquid while collecting the monster as collateral damage. And for those of you who think that I'm being a little too hard on Captain Numbnuts, this is the very next scene. Yeah, that's burn cream. So, not being happy with nearly flambeing half the base, our heroes go for broke and get ready for round 2.
Here are the fire extinguishers. Haven't you had enough?
Well, if I start burning up again, who's going to put out the fire?
I'm telling you, these two do not have a healthy relationship. Fortunately, when the scientist steps forward and proposes a slightly more rational idea, they'll use electricity to burn up the creature. They return to the radio room and trying to reach Anchorage while debating personal grooming habits and demonstrating, yes, they are in fact myopic twits.
Comb your hair first.
What hair?
Hey, say that again.
Oh, Nicky, not you too.
He's sensitive about his
You
hair.
too.
I got hair.
Well, it doesn't make you any prettier.
No, you're bread.
I'm sorry.
He's sensitive about that, too.
I've been very upset lately.
Oh, you ninnies.
Thus, it takes them a while to finally realize the monster's turned off the heat. As they set the electric fly trap for the monster, most of the survivors retreat to the generator room. Henry orders Scotty to safety. The reporter reminds the captain, however, that he was a war correspondent.
You don't belong out here.
I didn't belong at Alamein or Bougainville or Okinawa. I was just kibitzing. And I also write a very good obituary to you. Just ignore me, please.
Remember that point. Carrington makes a last-ditch appeal for the Thing.
We owe it to the brain of our species to stand here and die.
Because science, which goes over about as well as you'd expect. Soon the Geiger counter starts getting a reading. They decide to act as bait to draw the Thing in. They also take out several lights, which, if we're being honest, was probably suggested by the special effects department. As they wait for the monster, Scotty reminisces about the first execution he covered.
Bruce Snyder and Judd Gray. Did you get a picture of that, Scotty? No, they didn't allow cameras.
Really, dude? Now? The Thing makes his appearance by opening a door. You guys didn't really think this barricade through real well, did you? As he's about to step into the trap, Carrington kills the generator. Most of you have seen the 1982 remake. You remember the scene where Wilford Brimley's character goes berserk in the radio room? This scene is somewhat less dramatic.
Pat! Carrington turned off the generator!
Oh, bring the flashlight. Eddie, hold him off as long as you can. Roger.
Watch out, he's got a gun!
Keep away. Keep away. Keep away. I won't allow you to destroy.
Turn on that generator.
So Carrington is disarmed and our heroes return to the fray. Fortunately, the Thing was nice enough to wait patiently for them to return. Making a last bid to communicate with their visitor, Carrington tries to appeal to its wisdom.
Look, I have no weapons. I'm your friend. You're wiser than I. You must understand what I'm trying to tell you.
And ends up being bitch slapped by a carrot. 'Cause that's not humiliating at all. Schmuck. The monster begins his relentless advance, but this is one of those levels where you have to get the boss in exactly the right position to defeat him. Oh, never mind. Just like the scene in The Wizard of Oz, where the witch melts at the end, the Thing used a little person to play the monster as he shrunk by the electricity. Unfortunately, try as I might, I wasn't able to find the mini-thing's name. It kind of bums me out. I mean, this guy deserves recognition.
You can get a picture now, Scotty.
So with the Thing defeated and the world made safe once again for truth, justice, and the American way,
Take a minute
we
to
end
warm
with
up.
some good old-fashioned 50s paranoia.
I bring you a warning. Every one of you listening to my voice, tell the world. Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the skies, everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the skies.
The Thing may have had a theatrical release, but most of us found it the way I did, on a UHF channel rerun. Even though I appreciate the Kurt Russell remake a lot, this movie still stands on its own, especially on rainy Saturdays when all you really want are the heroes to be heroic, the monsters to be villainous, and worry about how one's going to overcome the other. On a slightly lighter note, Arness did get the leading man role he was promised. Turns out he got to play a G-Man, posing an invasion of giant ants. I'm the Hammerson, and that's what I remember.